Hello, I'm Joe McDonald, or Biggles Mac, and this is Big Mac's Battle Blogs. So, welcome. Just been reading through the comments and a few of the community posts I've done recently, and thought I'd talk about a few things. So, the some of you who read the community posts may have seen that we rescued a dog. We didn't really rescue the dog. It came to work and refused to leave, and she's doing fine. Work's a pretty hectic place at times. Obviously, from time to time, people, some quite large explosions go off near our work, and there's equipment, there's wires everywhere. There's tripods that can be knocked over. I mean, Jesus, there's a room full of bombs, some of which are homemade, and in fact, most of them are sort of homemade, and they're pretty sensitive things. So truth be told, we're trying to get this stray dog to go at first. To the point where I picked it up and carried it all the way down the stairs and gave it a good shouting at and tried to get it to leave, and it wouldn't. So we rearranged an entire military position around this stray dog, and now the whole platoon's adopted her. So she's doing great. She's a lovely girl. She's had I think she was someone's puppy based on her age. She's still got that real cute puppy dog look to her in her face, but she's clearly had a litter or two of puppies already. So I think, when the Russians came, she got left behind, and the streets have not been kind to her, but we are. So she's all right. She's doing okay. Sometimes she takes herself on a walk and goes to visit this other kind of checkpoint that's sort of near our position. That's they look after her too, so that's good. Me and my squad leader Mish, we were on the way to work a little while ago, and there's just a falcon. I think they're called a Sidka. It's basically like a sort of desert version of a peregrine falcon. And there was one of them just like hopping across the road with a damaged wing. And, I've always been a keen bird watcher and lover. I like watching them. I don't exactly go on holidays to do it. And Mish, it turns out, has rescued a few injured birds of prey in the past. So we both stopped and got it. And, we were flying a combat mission that day. I mean, well, Mish was. I'm there to, be his number two and learn. We took the time to do that, and then flew the mission. It went how it went. Can't really talk about details in too much real time like that, but yeah, I had a smile on my face afterwards. And then, we took it back to where Mish lives, and he had a little. His stepfather keeps pigeons, and there was a spare aviary, so we had it in there. The pigeons in the other aviary didn't like it very much, and one of the things with an injured bird, especially a bird of prey, is it takes them a day or two to eat, but. And if they're injured, they won't eat. They just they it's like they know they've had it bad enough, and they just cut themselves off from food and die basically. But no, it was eating within a day or two, and then I don't think it had really been punctured by shrapnel. Probably just like the blast had smacked it against something or knocked it out the air. I don't know exactly, but yeah, there was a little hole in the roof of this aviary because it was unused. That's why something had damaged it, and what with it having what we thought was a broken wing, we didn't think that'd be a problem. But within a couple of days, it was eating well, and then suddenly it was just gone. So So yeah, so it made a recovery, and we weren't too many kilometres away from work at the time. So yeah, in hawk terms, that's nothing. So I'm sure it was able to find its way back to where it lives, and I don't, I don't, I think they're pretty solitary birds, but they still must interact with others, and yeah, it's. With any luck, it's back with its family and stuff. So yeah. So one of the other things I saw was someone asking me about, now I'm doing this fixed wing course. They were asking me some questions about different sorts of drones. So I thought, now I've been taking my education for the last week and a half, and I'm from English speaking instructors. I'm in a better position to talk about that. So there's sort of two types and two families of drones that we're using in Ukraine. One are civilian drones that have been adapted for the purposes we're using them for, whether it's observation or light bombing. And one of the main things that defines a civilian drone is its signal. I'm not going to say which ones, but they work on set signals, and that means they're relatively easy to jam and detect. And they also have restrictions in the what's called the firmware, which is like the software, the hardware that it uses. It's firmware, I think, because it's made by the company that produces it. And these that means it's you have to basically hack this so they can go into areas that have got a no-fly zone and stuff like that, basically. So unfortunately, the companies that make them know we're doing this. So they are updating the software more and more and more to prevent and make it harder for people to hack them and make them more useful for our purposes. So yeah, and then the second kind is custom-made drones, military drones, which normally would be made by some big company, but these days there's some basic sort of garage level. Well, I wouldn't say garage level, but there's some sort of independent organisations that are producing drones in Ukraine. And they operate on different frequencies, and they're not bound by any of these sort of rules about where you can use them and etc., what height they can go to. That's another rule that they bind into the firmware on the DJIs, for instance. So yeah, and then you've got your different families of drones. You've got quadcopters or hectocopters, which means they've got 4 or 6 arms, and they operate like a little helicopter type thing. They do a vertical takeoff, for instance, and landing, and that is that's the sort of drones that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Then there's fixed wing drones, which are more like a remote control plane. In fact, some of them basically look exactly like a remote control plane, but the definitive difference with them is that they have cameras. Now, these cameras can be fixed, so they look forward or they look down, from the body or the wings, or they can be on a gimbal, so they can, look up and down and around, and you control that with a separate control on the controller that you're using to do it. And like I said, these range in size from something that is the size of a remote control a plane, the size of a of a 2-3 kilo, a two kilo kind of fish, to something that's, looks like a B-2 stealth bomber, like a ginormous delta wing the size of an emperor-sized bed, And again, these can be built specifically for observation, or for either dropping bombs or operating as a kamikaze drone. And the two main, it's like with a tool, you can use a screwdriver as a chisel, but you're better off using a chisel, So they have different applications, different ways that we use them, Obviously, with a plane or delta wing style drone, you need a bit of a takeoff and landing area. And this has to be an open area. Whereas with a quadcopter drone, you can operate this from behind cover. You can operate that from behind a wall, basically, and it can, take off straight up, go out, do its thing, come back, go straight down again. Where the plane, you got to go up, and when it comes back, it's got to go down. So, there's pros and cons. The main difference between them is range. That's the main difference. And the way that they observe the targets. With in some cases, with like I say, a DJI Matrice can go out, 4 or 5 kilometers, have a good look at something for a while, and it can look at something while it's being absolutely still, or you can be, moving around the target like that, and as the drone's moving, you're moving the camera as well. They operate like that, whereas even the smallest remote control plane can comfortably, RC, plane style drone, can go out to 8, 10, 12 kilometers, have a good fly around in a circle around something it's seen that you're trying to get, a view of what you think you've seen or what you hope you've seen from different angles, and then come back. Now, the bigger ones can go much, much further. And this is hopefully something that our unit, I proudly say, down to my efforts and the efforts of foreign volunteers and charities I work with, and people who've given me links and connections to get into these much bigger, more capable drones. That means, we're not just going to be able to find out where the nearest Russians are, or where the second and third sort of infantry defensive lines are, but where the tank's shooting at us from, but where the tank sleeps, and where the artillery sleeps and rests, and where the HQ is, where they're swanning around thinking they're safe, like they own the bloody place, which they do not. And with these sort of things, hopefully very soon, my unit, which is, just a small territorial defence unit, guys who are from where we're from, who are fighting from their home, for their homes, fighting for their home city. We're, going to be able to be bringing our brigade and our Southern Front Defence Command much longer range data of what the Russians are up to. And yeah, I am really enthusiastic and proud about that. So yeah, good stuff. So I'm on my third day of the fixed wing course now. I have to admit, yesterday wasn't an easy day. There was high winds, and frankly, I had a couple of whiskies after finding out about the 60% casualties at another international unit. So yeah, that was, that's how it was. But today, back on form, went really, really well. Yeah, I'm feeling confident. I do wish it was a longer course because it's like learning. It's like learning. I've never been a musician, but I'm going to use this as a comparison. It's like learning an instrument. Your DJI type drone is one kind of instrument, right? And then your quadcopter FPV type drones, that where the camera is fixed and you're pretty much just strapping a bomb to these things and flying them very fast and nippy, and either dropping the bomb or flying it right into a target. That's like the difference between playing a guitar and playing a mandolin. And whereas these fixed wing drones, that's like someone handing you a cello or a double bass. And to someone who knew nothing about these sort of things, you're like, well, they're all a stringed instrument. Why can't you just pick it up and play it? They all look about the same, just one's a different size to the other. And obviously, it's not like that. So drones are like the same, but we're getting there. We've had some good news. A really nice guy, and I'm going to say his nationality. He's an American, and he's an older gentleman. He's come to Ukraine like a dozen times now, and he brings really good stuff. And he just turned up at my unit the other day on the random. And then one of my commanders said, look, you need to speak to Big Mac. He's not here right now. But, a lot of them don't speak the best English, so it's kind of useful for me to be able to help my unit with communicating with foreign volunteers and charities and stuff. But this guy has helped Ukraine a lot out of his own pocket. And he brought my unit like a Mavic Thermal, which is like a $6,000 drone, and then 3 other Mavic Pros, Mavic Enterprises. So the bloke rocked up with like 12,000 quid's worth of about 15,000 euros, dollars, pounds, whatever worth of drones, just as a hey. There's a Ukraine. He rented an apartment in Kherson, and the woman from the apartment beneath him turns out she cleans one of our barracks or something. That's how he found his way to my unit. But I was speaking to him now, so he's going to be helping our unit a lot. But that sort of stuff isn't coming till December. But now, instead of us being down, I didn't really want to tell the truth about this a couple of weeks ago, but we were down to 1 thermal drone for our battalion like a few weeks back. Now we have 4, which means two of our squads have enough drones until one of them gets shot down or breaks again to give full night coverage of our area. And it's important to have 2, because obviously you can fly one out, come back, change the battery. But if something's happening, you want to be doing this in relays. So, as one's coming in and getting to the end of its battery life, the other one's arriving, and you're keeping constant footage. So now we're at what I'd call the barest minimum of night capability to make us effective, which is great, but it's not great. It's the bare fucking minimum. So hopefully with this guy's help and your guys' help, because I'm still, the drone fund has diversified a little bit into our different needs. But as I learn more about drones and what I can get and what's available and what we need, and who's qualified to use what. But yeah, he's a bit like an angel investor turned up that very guy. So, unnamed American man, thank you ever so much. I'm really looking forward to having a good meal with you and having a laugh with you when you visit us in Kherson next. One of the other comments on the videos was about the cost of drones. So these 2 RC plane type fixed wing drones that I'm going to get, that with the controller and the antennas is 140,000 hryvnia, which is about about 3,600 USD, £3,100. I don't know, three and a bit grand basically. And I'm that quite a lot of that is coming from the donations that you've been giving me and I've been collecting. Some of it is coming from my wages, and yeah, that's what I'm but I've made a personal pledge to put quite a bit, quite a decent percentage of my wages into getting the equipment we need. And that's going to be great to have them, but it's a question of, like I said, we had a while ago, we did have 4 thermal drones, but then one broke, one got knocked out by an anti-drone gun, the other got shot down by a sniper, and then we're down to one. So, well, we think it was a sniper. It could have actually been an air-to-air FPV kill, but we can't quite work it out. Yeah, must have been a very skilled, frankly, he was either a good sniper or a very good FPV operator if he managed to do that. But we just don't know. So, yeah, so that the thing is, like let's say hypothetically, this rich American turns up and then suddenly you guys, this video goes viral and everyone's giving me loads of money. If I equipped our battalion with absolutely everything I think and I know about that we need, we're talking like 150,000 euros, dollars, whatever. And in 3 months' time, the way the war is, because we're fighting a full-on war here, half of that stuff would be destroyed, lost, damaged. Some of the teams of the guys who are using it might be dead. All it takes is one shell to hit our position, and even if it doesn't kill all of us or just wounds us a bit, or we all make it, it'll probably fucking destroy everything that's in there. So it's like that. War is very heavy on the equipment, and we do get some drones from the army, but not enough. We're not. Despite the fact that our assault and our recce teams are doing stuff that, they're going out to the islands on speedboats, reconnaissancing, mapping out minefields, taking out enemy positions, taking more and more ground. In any other army, this would be considered special forces type missions. Like if you're raiding on speedboats in small teams, in contested areas, cut off from, big reinforcement support, you very much are doing special forces missions. But we're a TDF unit. We're the lowest of the low. We're not even at the bottom of the table when it comes to equipment. We're under it, living off scraps, which is why stuff like I'm doing, the help that people like Brandon Mitchell from Ukraine TIBC, this random American, charities like Eyes on Ukraine and Blaugebillen from Sweden, the help that they give is vitally important and really, really does help us win the war. So yeah, as for these bigger Delta Wing drones that we'll be doing in the future, I'm not quite sure how that works yet. I've been to see the workshop. I've seen some stuff. We didn't get into the nitty gritty of talking about prices. Basically, to get access to them drones at all, we have to go and do their training, and that isn't going to be for quite a few weeks, at least. So, but it's in hand, and it will happen. So yeah. So anyway, I'm in a good mood, and I'm feeling pretty healthy. My burst eardrum is, by the way, there's like 1 or 2% still there. Definitely giving me a bit of hearing damage, but I seem to repair fairly quickly. And for now, I'm going to go up the road and get myself a pizza before that place shuts. Anyway, it's goodbye from me, Joe McDonald or Biggles Mac, and goodbye from Big Mac's Bot Blogs. And as always, to our Vatnik and pro-Russian listeners, Idi no Hoyza Lupa.